Welcome to Masterpiece Tarot. I'm Tala, and I'm going to go ahead and get a reading for today. I did a little bit of work before I jumped on here, and a couple of things that came up that I think Spirit was kind of prompting me to think about. The first one is ancestors, and the second one is purpose. So I'm going to just kind of hold those in the back of my mind, and I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and jump in. I have shuffled these decks. Spirit, I'm going to leave this first one open and just ask you to bring through any messages. We'll just do like one, whoa, kitty, one main reading. Okay, I think I'm going to keep shuffling for a sec. I feel that I got a little startled by the kitty. The kitty just jumped right up onto the windowsill. Okay, one more. I think we're almost there. Spirit, what would you like for me to bring through here? So we'll do a Celtic cross. We have an Ace of Swords. Fresh idea. Compassionate start. Crossed by the Eight of Swords. Five of Pentacles in the conscious space. And what's hidden is a celebration, the Three of Cups. In the past we have a Ten of Wands, a heavy burden. And in the near future, a Tower. Sudden change. A new beginning. There's an awareness of a past life soulmate, a reunion. Could be feelings of nostalgia. And in the environment, we have the Knight of Wands. So somebody coming in with passion, with ambition. Somebody's wanting to get something done. The Three of Pentacles here. This could be a fear. This could be a hope. And we've got a Queen of Swords here. So we'll have to keep pulling until we get to a major arcana. Let's see. And then we have a Five of Cups, a Two of Swords, and Justice. Okay. All right. What I'm getting here, the Ace of Swords is about, obviously, a beginning. The Suit of Swords is about ideas, thoughts. It could be the written word, communication. So we have maybe some new information coming in. Okay, something new. And it's crossed by this Eight of Swords. See how she's all tied up? She's feeling entrapped. She's feeling stuck. She's blindfolded. So somebody could be like getting downloads, but for whatever reason, they're having a hard time receiving those. They don't feel open. They don't feel like they can access those. Somehow they feel trapped. Maybe they're trapped in a situation. They could be trapped in a job. There could be other reasons that somebody would feel that way. Remember, this is coming from the divine, and there are lots of things in our lives that cause us to be disconnected from more high vibrational energies like the divine. Television, all the time we spend on phones, advertising, it's everywhere. Even the music we listen to, even the quality of food that we eat. And whoever this person is, they understand that there's something like that going on, where this card, this is like, these people are really struggling, right? They look sort of impoverished, but it's really not even about that. It's about being sick. Their health is not good. They don't have what they need. They don't have, one of them doesn't have a shoe. Somebody's walking on crutches. Their posture isn't, upright. I mean, something is causing both of these people to be ill or unwell. And then what's hidden is this potential for celebration, collaboration, this potential for happiness here. Like this is a joyous and fun occasion. These people here holding their cups up and dancing. In the past, there's some heaviness. Somebody, this is like the maximum amount of a load that you could possibly carry. And he's got a long way to go to get to that building over there. He seems to be walking towards that house over there, but it's really far away. And carrying such a load and having to travel that distance, it's almost impossible to do it. So there's a real feeling of wanting to lay down the burdens in the past, recent past. Tower. This is about foundations crumbling. But what happens when something falls, then something new can be built. It is about endings and beginnings, and this is what's coming up. So let's clarify those. Those are like that's the central bit of the reading. I'm really getting somebody who is needing to make some changes. This is somebody who's recognizing the need for change. They recognize that they are not meeting their potential in some way. Something is too burdensome and a change is needed. So let's get some more info here. Talk to us about this new idea. What's this new beginning that's trying to enter this reality here, Spirit? Tell us about this new beginning here. What's it to do with? Five of Swords, adversity, and the Four of Pentacles. That's that card where somebody's holding on for dear life to their stability. Okay. I am getting something here. Four of Pentacles is about stability, but it's also about a fear around not having enough. Like, she's really holding on tightly to those pentacles. She's got two hands on one, she's got her feet on the other two, and there's a sense that there's competition around the material world. Like, there's not enough for everybody. We have to fight for what we need, and that's what that adversity, that Five of Swords card is about, right? Conflict, adversity. And what I'm getting really strongly here is this new idea, this new thought that's coming in. It's like in contrast to this other energy, right? This competition for resources and greed and the lack mentality, holding on very tightly to what we think is ours because there's not enough, the universe is not abundant, if they have it, I won't. All this kind of thinking can really keep us stuck. And I think this new idea that's kind of trying to come through is, to sort of expose the lie. I don't want to say lie, but the untruth. To expose that line of thinking as false. Because in reality, there is enough. The universe is incredibly abundant. And furthermore, we can get a sense of security, yes, from the material world. We can also, and importantly, get a sense of security from our connection to the divine. And this hand is the divine reaching out. And I think this is really important, this idea that we need to understand that our sense of security is, yes, connected to the physical, but if it's limited to the physical, what if that physical thing falls away? Are you then is your whole entire mental structure going to fall apart? I think if you have a connection to the divine, then it puts that material piece into perspective, and you can, through that connection with Source, you can live in a constant state of abundance. And it's a feeling and a belief more so than an actual physical manifestation. I hope that makes sense. So this is the idea that's trying to come through. Something about being more connected to spirit, less attached to the material world. But this is blocked. This is a hard message to receive. This person here, this energy crossing, that's blocking this truth, is somebody who's trapped. They're trapped. So why is this person trapped? Spirit. It's a King of Swords. Okay, well. And the Three of Wands. Okay. What I'm going to say, this Three of Wands is looking to expand. They're looking out at the water, and they're looking for new opportunities. And what I'm seeing here is not a connection to the divine. I'm not saying she's not connected to Source, but I'm seeing water, I'm seeing boats, she's standing on the earth, and there are these wands. It's 100% earth energy in this card. Okay. Same thing here. There's just kind of a barren sky. Even this little cliff, this little relief here with these, it might be a building there. There's no indication of the divine. Now, the King of Wands, I think, is telling us that's the truth. I think that the point of this energy crossing is to say, we do have a choice, but it's easy to not see the choice. It's easy to overlook this idea. It's very understandable. It's understandable that we would be focused, when we're thinking about expanding, that we would be focused on the material. Alright, give us a little more information on the Five of Pentacles in the conscious space. So the person, receiving this gift, this idea, is leaving somebody feeling this lack. It's poor health, even. Well, there's the Queen of Swords. The King just came out, and the Hermit. Okay. They are out in the cold. It's dark. The Hermit is holding a light, a little lantern. It's also dark, but he has a light. And that star represents his intuition, the connection to Source, or the divine. And the Queen of Swords is saying that's the truth. And so I think this Hermit, the message here is use your intuition and have faith. Okay, so like if you're dealing with a health issue, if you're dealing with, I don't know, you lost some money didn't come in that you were expecting, go within and tap in. And why are we not seeing this celebration? Why is this in the hidden space? What else can you tell us about this Three of Cups? The Empress, and Strength. The Empress is abundant, she's fertile. She represents all the queens in the deck. She's very feminine, she's nurturing. And here in the Strength card we also have a feminine energy. And this feminine is soft, right? There's a softness to her with her hair in the bun, and yet she is using a lot of strength to manage the beast, right? The lion. This is a Leo card. I think it's easy to overlook the wonders of life when we are so focused on, you know, this like hard scrabble life. Like, there's not enough, I gotta spend all my time earning money and looking for my next thing. And I think the message here is, in fact, embodying more feminine energy, like softening up, right? Yes, you can be strong, but also soft and receptive. You don't have to constantly be running and going. And with the stars there on the crown, or on her head rather, well, it is her crown, but the Empress reminds us that, you know, the wisdom of the cosmos is always available to us. I think this kind of celebration too has a kind of generative effect. Like, we can actually create love. We can, and you know, love can make us feel abundant, right? And so I think that so far what I'm getting with this message, with this reading, is that if you want to receive these important downloads from Spirit and not feel trapped and blocked, it's really important to become balanced in your energy so that you can actually receive these messages. Okay. When we overwork, we can feel depleted. If we think we don't have enough, then we won't have enough. And that's actually something that's depicted on this card here. This little infinity symbol, what we embody within manifests without. That's the meaning of that symbol. What we embody within, we manifest without. Alrighty, tell us about the Ten of Wands. I think we know why this person's burdened, or why you may be feeling burdened, collective. We do live in a capitalist society. Alright, we've got a High Priestess. And we have a Ten of Pentacles. again, it's almost like these clarifying cards keep trying to break through this illusion. It's almost like these cards are the divine, speaking to this person having this extremely 3D experience. All right? The High Priestess is super tapped in. She's almost got magical powers. And the Ten of Pentacles is like total abundance. Like the Ten of Wands is an extreme burden. The Ten of Pentacles is a completion. Like you couldn't have any more abundance. And on this card here, we see like these grapes, right? So, you know, abundance can be, you know, many different things other than just money and wealth. Yes, pentacles are to do with the earth and stability. But we can also be abundant in love. We can be abundant in creativity and all of this. And let's clarify the Tower. Now, what can we know? I think this will be an interesting aspect. What is falling apart here, Spirit? What needs to come down so that this new idea can actually come in? What needs to come down, Spirit? What is this card about? The Two of Pentacles. So an end to juggling, maybe? An end to trying to live in two worlds at once? Okay. And the Eight of Swords. There it is again. Oh, did we have it? Yeah, we had it. It was right here. That's what has to end. Okay. There needs to be an end to this mindset. Okay. You are not trapped. This is a choice that you're making to believe that you're trapped. But you're not. In fact, her binding, that little tie there, keeping her stuck, is not tight. She can take her blindfold off. So there needs to be an end to this mindset of lack, of burden, and there needs to be an opening up to the reality of what's possible when we lighten up our energy, when we step into this generative space. There also needs to be an end to this juggling. So twos are about balance, and yes, he does appear to be balancing those pretty well. However, in this particular reading, I think that this is a person, look, he even has two different colored boots on. I've never noticed that before. But what that signifies to me in this reading is, on the one hand, a part of him understands the truth of what we're talking about here. The truth, which is that a lack mentality will make you feel stuck. Believing that you don't have enough will cause you to have health problems. You know, right? And so we can almost think of that as devil energy. I mean, that's really taking it to the extreme. But in a way it is, right? Because we're attached to a fear. We're attached to something that's actually hurting us. Whereas on the other hand, we're talking about this gift from the divine that Spirit is attempting to bring into whoever's listening to this reading. Okay, that gift from the divine is represented by the other boot. And so, you know, I get the feeling that whoever I'm reading for is of two minds. They've got one foot in this thinking of, I've got to compete, I don't have enough, I need more. And they've got the other foot in this other world, which is, I know I have enough, and if I would just tap in more to the divine and release some of my need to control my money so tightly, like this card, controlling it so tightly, the energy would actually flow a lot better. So that's what's got to come down. It's a mindset and a belief system that need to shift for whoever I'm reading for here. So this person we're reading for wants to give this offer to this soulmate. Look, check it out. They want to have a feeling of being home, right? These are like past life soulmates. They've known each other many lifetimes. They're very comfortable with each other. There's a recognition. There's a kindness, friendliness, innocence. It's all good. It's better than good. It's awesome, right? And this person wants that. But if you look at what they're wearing, you know what I'm drawn to? They kind of look like regular people. They're not in any kind of fancy gowns or you know, robes. They just look like regular people. You know, like in a pastoral setting, like maybe they live out, you know, in some farmland or something. And yet, I think people understand how much happiness there is between these two. It has nothing to do with the material. It has nothing to do with what they have. Okay, so what can you tell us about this? This person that we're reading for who's got, you know, one foot in one world and another in the other world. What can you tell us about this, the way that they're seeing themselves right now? The Two of Swords. Okay. And the Nine of Cups. Okay. Again, a contradictory energy. On the one hand, this person that we're reading for is single. They've got all but one of the cups. They're happy. They're fulfilled. On the other hand, they feel like restricted, that they can't move. And with those two swords again, I'm getting that sense that somebody is of two minds. Do I take a leap of faith towards a soulmate, right? Which is a spiritual movement. I mean, all these people have, well, there's a home back here, but they have flowers in cups, okay? They don't have any signs of a lot of wealth. What they have is love. The Nine of Cups also is all about the love, the emotion, the feeling. Like water, it flows. It's interesting. The Nine of Cups is looking towards these two, whereas the Two of Swords is looking away. So I think who I'm reading for, the part of you that wants love, you see that it's possible. You see it's there. The part of you that is unsure, that is thinking, I'm not sure, maybe it would be better for me to, you know, keep looking out at these, into the distance to expand. Something better must be out there. There's got to be something better out there. She is avoiding the love. She's actually restricting herself. I mean, that's the meaning of the card, but also she is looking away. There is a sense that she just, either it's not on her radar, she's avoiding. I'm not sure, but I think that is significant. Maybe she's got a blind spot, literally, with that blindfold. She can't even imagine that that's a possibility. This other, you know, that other part of yourself that's so focused on feeling entrapped, feeling like you're in bad health, feeling burdened, right? That you can't even see this coming in from the divine, this new idea. So we don't know what this new idea is, but it's something that resonates with the soul. It's something that will nourish your soul, your being, on a deep level. I don't know what that is. And this card is symbolic of that. It doesn't have to mean that there's somebody coming in, but it's something deep. Okay, tell us about the Knight of Wands. Who's rushing in? Who's rushing in with all of this ambition? That's kind of what I feel. I feel that somebody's rushing in with a lot of ambition. Somebody's wanting to change this situation around. The Knight of Pentacles. Another knight. That could be like his brothers in arms. That could be an associate. Knights are all about action. And Judgment. Judgment is about awakening. So we've got fire, we've got pentacle, earth, and we've got Judgment. We have been talking a lot about the divine, just because that Ace of Swords is being handed by the divine. I'm really getting, too, these two knights, these are aspects of the same person. Okay? This is, you know, wands are about creation. The element of fire, like, transforms things instantly. If fire touches something, there's a lot of times, like, almost an immediate transformation. Whereas pentacles, earth, it's very stable. It's a slow-moving energy. And if you notice, these two knights are actually facing away from each other. They're not going in the same direction. And we've been talking about, with this card, how somebody is of two minds. They're of two minds. And the same thing came out with these, right? With these cards. This person, right, is of two minds. Okay? So what I'm getting is there's a need to look at the parts of the self that are opposing one another. I believe there may be a part of you that wants to be passionately creative. Do something completely off the wall. You know, buy some paint, buy some canvas, and just, you know, make some crazy creation that just, you know, just all of a sudden spontaneously emerges as an expression of this energy, right? But the pentacle part of you is like extremely focused on that coin. It's like, it's round, it's got a perfect star, it has to be just so, and there's all this control inside of that energy. And there might be a way to look at those two parts of oneself and work on that, right? Maybe there needs to be a balancing. Maybe a little less focus on that perfect round pentacle and a little bit more on this wild, colorful expression of one's soul. Okay? Because in order to receive this new idea, there is a need to be, I think, balanced. I think balanced, and when we look at what's blocking it, okay, this feeling of entrapment is what's blocking that idea from coming down, coming in. And it's not even just an idea that you're looking for. It's not an idea or a word. It's not even something specific. It's more just being open to receiving. Being open to receiving. So this feeling of being entrapped is the thing that needs to shift. And with Judgment, there's an awakening. This is, actually, speaking of receiving, look at how her arms are positioned. She is able to receive. And so I think this card, this Judgment card, is telling us that there's, some awakening. And I do think it's aligned with sort of what we're reading on here. Judgment is also about like self-reflection. Yeah. And that's in the environment. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay. Not going to read it. We're just going to look at these quickly. So there's a sense that now something is building. We've got the Queen of Swords. She cuts out what doesn't serve. And so she may be looking at partnerships, or you may be looking at some of the collaborations you've been involved in. You may be deciding, okay, what do I need to change, right, with the Tower? What do I need to transform? What do I need to remove? How can I balance this out better so that I don't have to feel like, I'm losing something? So that I don't have to be in this state of perpetual grief. So that I can actually remember that there are 2 cups standing behind me, rather than focusing all my energy on these 3 that have spilled. Because when I just focus on these 3 here, it leaves me feeling restricted and blocked and stuck and blind and unable to receive. But if I want to receive this gift from the divine, if I want the scales in my life to balance out, I need to have a balance between my connection to Source, God, the universe, Spirit, and this earthly realm. There's a sense of fairness here with justice. There's also a sense of seeking the truth. So I think this reading is for the person who may be working on creating more balance in their life. This can be a reading for people who have been experiencing a feeling of some kind of a block. Maybe you're trying to manifest a relationship, right? And you want to be a good communicator. You want to put yourself out there in a way that's going to be really appealing to somebody, but you're blocked. So looking at that is a matter of examining, I think, what are your thoughts and beliefs, and how are those holding you back? Looking within for the answers. Queen of Swords, cutting out the thoughts that aren't serving. Laying down the burdens. Okay, knowing that there is enough. And using your intuition to understand and draw on those sources of support that may not be related to the one thing that you've been focusing on too much. Okay, and yeah, interesting read. I think we've basically gotten it all. Remember all the possibilities that are out there for you. Work on balancing things out, especially your energies. And especially recognize when you're trying to put one foot in one world and the other foot in the other world. Sometimes we need to make up our mind. We need to make a choice. Because the Two of Swords leaves us stuck. The Ace of Swords wants to come in, but we have to be able to receive it. Alright, that's a message for this one. Bye for now.